Nonverbal communication. What are you really saying? Communication occurs on two levels, verbal and nonverbal. Nonverbal communication (NVC) is not a new idea. We can see it in artwork that is thousands of years old. Basically, our introduction to life begins our introduction to NVC. Similarly, when people gather, we often begin to form opinions about each other based on nonverbal cues, closing, eyes contact, and eyes movement, posture, and the distant spiriting us. Although no one can exactly exactly the importance of NVC. It's estimated that 50% or more of communication is nonverbal. Therefore, we must pay careful attention not only to the words we use, but also to our NVC. One of the first things we are generally observe in others is her, his clothing, and accessory. We wouldn't likely go to a job interview wearing shorts, a rock star t-shirt, a pair of sandals, and sunglasses with purple hair and multi-body piercings. Most of us know that we must make a good impression from the very beginnings, even before we introduce ourselves. This explains why business people throughout much of the world quite often dress formally, slack, a dress t-shirt, and a tie for men, a dress, a skirt or a pair of slacks, and a blouse for women. Likewise, eyes position, eyes movement, and posture play important roles. Eyes point downward, departing eyes, and a curved spines don't make a good impression. We can interpret this to mean, leave me alone. In fact, those who study NVC split the body into three different sections: the face and the neck, the area between the shoulder and the waist, the hips, legs, and feet. Although each of these sections is equally important, the face, in particular the eyes and the neck, probably play a more important role. They can't be hidden under table or behind the desks as the lower half of the body can. The anthropologist Edward T. Dohal has divided space into four zones: intimate distance, personal distance, social distance, and public distance. As the name suggests, intimate distance extends from direct physical contact up to about 55 centimeters, and this distance is primarily for provide actions. Personal distance usually 0.75 meters to 1.2 meters is the space in which you generally have a conversation with someone. The distance varies depending on the closeness of the person. Social distance 1.2 meters to 2.1 meter or further occurs during the business action with the sales collect or at the social gatherings. The greatest distance generally is 7.5 meters and over, often occurs during public gatherings, such as a speech. Many problems can occur in interpreting NVC. First, NVC is a culture. For example, someone from Latin America often has a much shorter person distance than someone from Europe. Second, the study of NVC is inexact. No one can determine every individual characteristic that could influence NVC. Third, NVC can be easily misinterpreted. Someone whose arms are crossed against her chest might not be acting definitive. Rather, she might simply be cold. Fourth, generalization and overgeneralization about NVC could easily lead to stereotypes. Asian crowds often look downward when talking with someone in a higher position. This shouldn't lead to the stereotypes that Asians are untrustworthy because they never look you in the eyes. If we accept the limitations of this research field, however, we might be able to learn more about ourselves and each other. This might also help us to begin to understand why Mama and Papa know when we are lying, why teachers know we haven't done our homework, and what our boyfriends or girlfriends are really thinking by Shannon and Drews.